Hi, Steve here with digitalphotographygear.com, and today I'm going to talk a little about wedding lens choices for Canon shooters. I have with me some of my lenses, and I'm just going to go over why I use them, what I like about them, and offer you some advice about what you should look for when looking to purchase a wedding lens. So I'm just going to jump right in here. On this side I have my 3 zoom lenses, and on this side I have a couple prime lenses. This is the 16 to 35, this is the 24 to 70, and this is the 70 to 200. All 3 of these are f2.8 throughout their entire zoom ranges, and the 70 to 200 also has image stabilizer built in, which is very helpful for a longer lens like this. And for primes here I have 85mm f1.2 and 100mm f2.8 macro lens with image stabilizer. And what is not pictured here, but I do have, is a 35mm f1.4. And the reason it's not here is because I'm filming with it. So, I'm going to start here with the 16 to 35 f2.8 L lens. This is the version 2. They also have a version 1, which is also very capable. I like this lens because it's very, very wide on a full frame, and you can zoom to 35mm, which is just starting to get into the normal focal range category. So it's definitely great to have an ultra-wide zoom lens, because if you have a whole big group of people and limited space to work in, you can fit it all in with the ultra-wide. Or if you wanted to capture the grandeur of a church, or get a wide establishing shot of a wedding venue, it also comes in handy there. You don't have to get the 16 to 35, although it's what I recommend and what a lot of photographers like to use. They also have a 17 to 40 L lens, which is f4, so it is one stop slower at f4 versus f2.8. But at the same time, it's also much less expensive as well. So that's definitely another option. And that is what it looks like with the hood attached. And moving up from there is the 24 to 70 f2.8 L lens. This is widely considered to be the general wedding lens, just because it is a very, very usable focal range. 24mm is pretty wide, and it zooms into 70mm, which is starting to get into the telephoto category. It has fast, accurate, and silent autofocus, produces sharp images, good color, good contrast, and yeah, like I mentioned, a very usable focal range. Canon also makes a 24 to 105 L lens that is one stop slower at f4 versus f2.8 of the 24 to 70, but the 24 to 105 does also have image stabilizer as well, and it is also a little bit longer, going to 105 as opposed to 70mm. I tend to prefer the faster aperture of 2.8 over the image stabilizer of the with the f4, but yeah, that's a personal choice. A lot of people like the 24 to 105 just because it's longer and has the IS built in, but I prefer the f2.8 of the 24 to 70, and I find that's the case with most other wedding photographers that I've talked to. and that is what it looks like with the hood attached. And last but not least of the zooms is the 70 to 200. This is also a very, very popular lens for wedding photographers. They being Canon makes 4 different varieties of the 70 to 200. They make the 70 to 200 f4, f4 IS, f2.8, and f2.8 IS. This is the f2.8 IS. This is the version 2 of that lens. The version 1 has been discontinued, but is also very capable. This is great for getting longer, tighter shots, especially like during the ceremony when you don't want to be in the couple's faces while they're saying their vows, and also good for getting some nice candids from from further away to let people's natural emotions come out. Like I said, there are 4 varieties. As you add image stabilizer or bump from f4 to f2.8, it does get more expensive, so definitely get whichever one fits in your budget. If you can't afford the f2.8 IS, you can either get the f4 IS or the f2.8 without IS. So get what fits within your budget, you know. But those are the 3 zoom lenses that I use. I have a full frame SLR, so these 3 zoom lenses fit the bill really nicely. If you have an APS-C sensor size SLR, like a 7D for instance, I would recommend, instead of the 16 to 35, I would recommend the Canon 10 to 22. It's which is the equivalent of focal range of the 16 to 35, except on a crop body. So that would be your ultra-wide zoom lens on a crop SLR. And then you could either go with the 24 to 70, or they also make an EFS 17 to 55, which is also f2.8, and it also has the image stabilizer. So I would be tempted to go with that lens over the 24 to 70 if you have a 7D or a 60D, etc. And I would also recommend, regardless of whether you're full frame or crop, definitely recommend a 70 to 200, whichever variety you prefer. So those are my recommendations for a 3 zoom lens kit, whether you have full frame or APS-C. I'm going to talk a little about prime lenses now. Like I mentioned, I have the 35, the 85, and the 100mm macro. But really, prime lenses is more of a personal choice. You can really choose whichever one you're comfortable shooting with. They make plenty to choose from. They make a 14, 24, 35, 50, 85, 100, 135. So there's definitely plenty to choose from. I like the 35 and 85mm combo. I think they really complement each other really well. I have a wide and a telephoto, and they're both very fast, very high quality. The thing about primes is they have a simpler optical design than zoom lenses, so they tend to be sharper, and they also are much faster. This is f1.2 compared to all the zoom lenses are f2.8. So it is substantially faster, and you can get a thinner depth of field for better subject isolation, shoot in lower light so you don't have to increase your ISO as high or bring your shutter speed as slow. So that's always nice. And the quality of the images with prime lenses also does tend to be better overall than with zooms. But prime lenses, they do require a little bit more practice, I would say. You can't just zoom by turning a little ring on the side. You have to step forwards or backwards to get a different, to crop, basically. But it is also very rewarding seeing the images that come out of a prime lens. And I like the macro lens as well, just for some shots, like when the bride is getting their makeup applied, close up on the eyes, close up on the lips, maybe some shots of the flowers or the rings or other details like that. Macro lens can be great fun at weddings. So, but really, the prime lenses is more of a personal choice, and that's just shoot what you're comfortable with. And I would say the most important thing about wedding lenses is choosing the right lens for the job. You wouldn't want to get a nice tight portrait of the bride or groom with a 16 to 35, and you wouldn't want to try to get an establishing shot of the church with 70 to 200. So those are my recommendations for wedding lenses, and they also make fantastic lenses even if you're not shooting a wedding. But like I said, the important thing is the right lens for the job, and with primes, it's shooting at a focal length that you're comfortable with. So I hope I've helped you, and join me next time when I do some more reviews and talk about some more topics on digitalphotographygear.com.